What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning George Foreman. George Foreman claims that Mike Tyson could knock out Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury, and even thinks that the Iron Mike can become champion again. George Foreman believes Mike Tyson can become world champion again and has the ability to knock out the current champions. And this is what he said, quote, Iron Mike returns, of course, to the ring. He said this. He said, if he gets in shape like he is now, and he gets his timing back and all the other things fall into place, he can have an opportunity to fight for the title. If he can be managed right, the right champion will come to him. And if the right one comes, he can knock him out. Tyson looked great, Foreman added. He really did. And Roy Jones had to use every old skill out of the book to keep himself from being knocked out. I just can't believe what I saw. And that was just an exhibition. Just to think if Tyson had some activity the last 2 years, he'd be in line to be the champion of the world at 54 or even 55. Kid Dynamite showed what he showed us in an exhibition against Roy Jones, and I agree to a certain extent with George Foreman. Roy Jones, he had to survive to finish the fight. If he would have started fighting Mike Tyson, Mike would have hit him with something that probably would have hurt him and put him down. And of course, since this is an exhibition, they would have called off the fight. Okay, so again, we have to remember this is an exhibition, not an actual fight, even though it broke records or whatnot, and it did very, very well pay-per-view wise. It was just an exhibition. Now, as far as him knocking out Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury, you have to consider the time frame. And I know this is a what if, like a comic book, but what George Foreman is asking of Mike, can Mike do? Mike's lifestyle deals with his podcast, his personal life, his other projects of making, like a marijuana, a hemp resort and things of that nature. He smokes hemp. We know that he does. He said that he lit a joint up right before he went into the ring with Roy Jones. So the question was, realistically, could he pass those tests? My guess is I don't think he would want to, because I think like Mike's lifestyle with him, especially with hemp purposes, he smokes hemp to keep him calm. A lot of people deal with anxiety or bipolar disorder and things of that nature, and that's light on the scale. A lot of people deal with Parkinson's and stuff like that, and marijuana helps that too. I think because he's such an avid smoker and he's been doing that for a long time and he has a nice little balance, I don't think he would do that. I don't think he could pass those tests because he smokes weed. Okay, now as far as like performance enhancing drugs, to my knowledge, he never took in those. He was taking hardcore drugs, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol. All that stuff was driving him crazy, insane, because, of course, he quit against Danny McBride and stuff like that, quit on the stool, but he was under the influence, as he admitted, again, of hardcore drugs. But I don't think he would want to give up that portion of his lifestyle to become heavyweight champion again. I think Mike Tyson he likes the idea of fighting, but I think he likes the idea of fighting for others, to help others, not for some titles, because he's already won every one of them. It's just back in the yesteryear. It wasn't anything now. Okay, I don't think he's after that now. I don't think he wants that. I know people would love that because he's the youngest heavyweight champion that ever lived. So if he does beat one of those guys, he could be the older. So he would be the alpha, and then he could be the omega at the same damn time. But I think that's other people's dreams, not his own. His own is to help people. He said he would be a missionary, if anything, in a perfect world, right? And I think that's what he wants to do. Everything he does is to make a difference, and I can relate to that. So I think him wanting to come back to the sport seriously, I don't think he would want to do that, because I think that puts him back in that same type of mind frame that put him and spiraled him out of control. However, what George Foreman was talking about with the right type of management, he was resorting in training. He was resorting to the right people around Mike. I'm not talking about Don King. I'm talking about like the Rooneys and Customato and the guys that had him back before when he was semi-okay and he was successful. You know, if he had those type of guys, he could go farther. But again, that's if he wanted to. But physically, could he beat someone like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury? Honestly, I don't think any of those guys would fight Mike. You know, Tyson would probably do it. He said he would do it for an exhibition, but not for real. Anthony Joshua, I don't even think Anthony Joshua would want to take on Mike at this point. Because I think he said it. He has too much respect for him. He looks up to him. So it would be a lose-lose situation for any of those guys to step in there with Mike. It's a lose-lose. What if Mike goes in there, hauls off, knocks the shit out of one of them and drops him and does knock him out? There'll be a laughing stock of the heavyweight division being at the top of the division. They would be laughed out of the division. You know what I mean? And if they go in and put an assault to Mike, okay, you hurt a 54-year-old legend. What the fuck's wrong with you? So it's a lose-lose situation, people. But it is interesting to hear George Foreman claim this. You guys tell me what you think of George Foreman's claims that Mike Tyson can become the next heavyweight champion of the world. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.